Hi, my name is Arnav and I'm a 22-year-old film student.
I don't know why am I starting with one of the most famous people in India, the second richest actor in the world. Millions of books, articles, videos, documentaries already written and made about him. He's well known for being the king of romance, the Baadshah of Bollywood, among other titles labeled to him. So why Shah Rukh Khan? Before that, why did I call the title Shah Rukh Khan Anatomy of a Performer and not Shah Rukh Khan Anatomy of an Actor? I preferred performer because in his book Still Reading Khan by Mushtaq Sheikh, Shah Rukh says that I want to be known as a performer. It would be dishonest of me to say that I'm an actor who performs. I'm just a performer who's trying to shift towards acting. Now let's get back to the video. Why Shah Rukh Khan? For that, we'll have to travel back in time to 2020. Not so long ago, a few of you might know COVID-19 took place, and that forced a couple of not so intellectual people like me to look internally and understand our mental health and our relationship with our parents and people around us more deeply. And we did that for the first few months, but later on, it became a task, and it did for me too. So I started watching YouTube and rewatching some of the old videos and slowly started to watch more of Shah Rukh's interviews and started to feel a sense of warmth and comfort in listening to him talk about his journey, his struggles, his insecurities, his likes and dislikes, his display of wit and his charm, and it helped me a little more than I expected during the lockdown. So I started to ask myself that why does he feel like a member of the family? That why does he have the knack of making you feel that he lives with you? That he is just an arm's length away? And why does he connect in the same way with millions of people all over the world? I don't think even he knows how that happened. I don't think he really worked towards it, because he can never really work towards something like this. His stardom has to do with the fact that he becomes a part of you. There is a difference between awe and love, and I think he evokes love and not awe. So the question that kept bugging me for a very long time, and also was the big reason behind the making of this video, is why does Shah Rukh Khan feel so personal? So now Shah Rukh believes, and so do I at some level, that he is the commercial poet. What does that mean exactly? So in 2012, for Filmfare, when Shah Rukh was asked about what he felt about him being a megastar, he replied, "I'm a feeling you cannot resist. I'm not a megastar or superstar. I'm just a feeling you cannot resist." A feeling, of course. A feeling that is so intangible that which speaks to the audience of every class, creed, region, religion, and gender, and it transcends these human creations and speaks a language of love that cannot be resisted. There is more to Shah Rukh than just being a performer. His enormous success happens because of his individualism, determination, work ethic, arrogance, and ambition. He's not produced or created by anyone but himself. His success is his own. So now what makes him so different from all of his predecessors and peers? Why does he make it so big and appeal to so many when clearly there were actors more talented than him and performers more audacious than him? Well, Shah Rukh, apart from being extremely witty and charming, is also very self-aware, and in one of his interviews, he gave the most fitting answer to this question. He said, "I am a great fantastic accident of being the right person at the right place at the right time. That's the description of my success." Now, what is this period that Shah Rukh is talking about? What was the right time? Part 1, India post-liberalization. To understand the history of attempts that were made at liberalization in India in the 1966 and the early 1980s, the attempts were nowhere as thorough as the liberalization which was initiated in 1991.
We shall pay any price, bear any burden, make any sacrifice to realize those dreams. India is on the move again. We shall make the future happen.
The reason for the improvement or betterment was produced because of a payment crisis that had taken us to a severe recession. Also for taking loans from major international lenders, International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. Basically what that means is that it was a wide opening of the country's economy to a world with a mission of making the economy more market and service oriented, which led to an expansion of private and foreign investments. So I'll stop right here about the definition of post-liberalization in India before you all sleep, assuming that you haven't already, of course. So, until the 80s, advertising and other popular cultures often depicted Indian men as just patriotic citizens and nothing more. One who only fights for the betterment of the country and its people. But if you jump to the early 90s, this image was slowly shifting and being overtaken by a display of an Indian man who is ambitious, global, cosmopolitan, and who's on a rise for global recognition. This change also could be seen in the change in films. For instance, in the 70s and 80s, a working class hero fighting against corruption and who was a rebel against the system was usually portrayed by Mr. Amitabh Bachchan. By the 90s, this was a little outdated, and the reason behind this was the meteoric shift in the economic changes and the liberalization of the Indian economy, which asked for the emergence of a new image, a new Indian hero who is well-traveled, globally recognized, and at the very same time, very much rooted with his Indian heritage. And this is the period where Shah Rukh Khan was there, amongst the first actors to manifest and personify this new ideal or model. This was a period of the shift from Mr. Bachchan to Shah Rukh Khan. This new Indian man, which was portrayed by Shah Rukh, was not only a global image speaking to completely new generations, but at the same time was revolutionary because he was not shy in showing his feminine side, a side that displayed a sense of comfort, yet creating a sense of discomfort subconsciously in the audience's mind. All embracing this shift was a symbol of celebration of the Indian man as someone who is on a rise while still maintaining his cultural roots. People of that time needed a representation of their desires, and this was the right time for the emergence of Shah Rukh. And with the display of his feminine side, Shah Rukh did not only connect or validate the men, but also the women who watched him and saw themselves in him and his characters. Shah Rukh Khan revolutionized masculinity depicted in prior Bollywood films by shifting it away from the conventional, traditional angry and extremely aggressive archetype popularized by Mr. Bachchan, a term vested upon him as angry young man.
तुम लोग मुझे ढूंढ रहे हो और मैं तुम्हारा यहाँ इंतजार कर रहा हूँ। ये बात है।
Which, by the way, is back and is the need of the hours in recent times. But what Shah Rukh did was, instead of following the same theme, he instead embraced his vulnerability, his sensitivity, and ability to endure pain, which was traditionally viewed as feminine qualities. His existence during this period was critical because it gave him a grip and helped him create a unique brand of masculinity mixed with his raw talent and charismatic personality, which helped him stand out in the field of other Bollywood stars and establish himself as the leading man in the industry. That little space of time post-liberalization was the era where the stars were made the last of stars. This was the period and he was there, the right person in the right place at the right time. Part 2. Advertising.
I was one of the first ones to start endorsements at this level. There was a time when actors looked down upon advertising. They thought it's a come down, overexposure, product. Why? I'm an actor, I'm enigmatic, and I need to keep that. I can't be overexposed. People will see me 30 seconds on TV. I changed all that.
When an interviewer asked Shah Rukh, "How did you become such a big star?" Shah Rukh replied, "It is not because of Kuch Kuch Hota Hai. It's not because of Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gham, Bazigar or Dar. I think I'm a big star because I had the right to choose. I was in a position of choice that the advertising world gave me. As an alternate profession, choose the right kind of films that would suit my personality, my capabilities and my acting style. And I could do that because I knew that I had an alternate profession in advertising." So now what people don't realize even today is the power of advertising. It's everywhere. From the very t-shirts you wear to the undergarments to, I don't know, you can pick the most insignificant thing in your house and it will also have an advertisement in some form or the other. And after all, Shah Rukh knew that he was not just a person, he was a brand, product of people's desires and aspirations. So he had to sell himself right. And Shah Rukh was very well informed about the art and importance of advertising because before he pursued his career in theatre, television and film, he obtained a degree in mass communication from Jamia Islamia in New Delhi. In the Advertising Annual Awards of 2002, he even spoke about the importance of endorsements and how significant they were for his career. Let's take for instance an example of the type of advertisements that the actors of that time period were sticking to and not exploring because they were trying to maintain a certain image. Like Salman Khan and Akshay Kumar with Thumbs Up and their slogans of that time, "Grow up to Thumbs Up," or Sanjay Dutt with Hey Words, where he's talking about how to be a man. By the way, which everyone should check out to see the absurdity of that time period. So, In contrast to all of his colleagues, Shah Rukh chose to play mischievous, youthful characters in his ads and even in his movies, with the intention to appeal a broader audience with its fluid and hybrid qualities.
Ready to go on the Shah Rukh Khan world tour? Work takes me to every corner of the world. Today in one city, tomorrow in another continent. But wherever in the world I am, it is reassuring to know there's always someone I can bank on.
One of his most feminine roles in the advertisement world, Shah Rukh endorsed a soap brand called Lux, where he is in a bathtub surrounded by petals and actresses who have been previously modeled for Lux. One of the other reasons for such wide recognition for Shah Rukh was his on-screen characters that transcended and went beyond caste and religion boundaries, as he often plays characters that were westernized, so it's a little difficult to identify them as members of a particular caste, region or ethnicity. Another reason is his relatability, as he comes from humble beginnings in New Delhi, the loss of his parents at a young age, and his extreme and clear love for his family, which added to his appeal as a really regular and approachable guy. As S.V. Srinivasan, in his book When He Talks About Shah Rukh, explains a term called spectorial investment, which means that when we watch our favorite stars on screen, it's not just about their acting skills. We bring in all of our knowledge about the stars' past, religion, region, gender, their activities outside of the film world. So when we see a star on screen, we're not just seeing a character, we are seeing them through the lens of their entire history and background. And that's what makes their performances so much more special. While at the same time, his endorsements of various modern products and his success abroad made him also a westernized and global version of the new Indian man, a blend of pure perfection. He was the metrosexual man, as the head of Hindustan Level's senior executive Ashok Venkatramani called him, because they saw a different kind of a male who is different from the rest of the stars, shown as a soft guy who is in touch with his emotion. Shah Rukh's career has really been a window into the evolution of India as a nation, and a display of the growth of aspirations and cravings of its middle class. With his advertisements of various brands, Shah Rukh has narrated the stories that reflected these desires. Part 3. Filmography. Becoming Indian by being for everyone. In an interview with BBC in 1997, Shah Rukh declared that I believe that the audience is so varied in India. There are people still who ask me in villages, do you bleed when you fight? So you'll have to do films that go with every section. So I'll do a film that appeals to perhaps parents, or I'll do a film which is aggressive like Ram Jane, which appeals to people on the roads, which may not do as well commercially as the others. But for the audience it was made for, it works for them. I also do what they call fluffy films, middle class, middle of the road cinema. I've done all kinds of films. What makes Shah Rukh so special is his ability to cater for everyone. One film at a time, of course. He's made it all while staying in the commercial lane. But sometimes he did walk off that path, for instance with Manikal's The Idiot or Paheli, Swadesh in some sense. In The Idiot by Manikal, Shah Rukh was playing Raghujan, a version of Raghujan, one of the most iconic villains of the world literature written by Dostoevsky. It was his first negative role, so to speak, containing snatches of some of the other bad guys that he was destined to play. Albeit with Barry John at tag in the earliest stages of his career in the theatre, where he worked alongside Manoj Bajpayee, Divya Seth, and so on in plays like Baghdad Ka Ghulam, based on works of Italian playwright of the 17th century Carlo Goldoni, or The Old King Cole, or many plays by Shakespeare, or Whose Life Is It by Brian Clark, and so on. The reason behind talking about this is not to highlight or glorify the basic practices that every actor should go through, but to show the intellect that he carries and we as audience at times miss or don't know about, because we care very little of their work in the past and judge them for the films like Zero or Happy New Year, which is rightly so, by the way, considering the trauma it must have been watching them. That is why I also think he is a commercial poet, because he made a blend of trying new kinds of cinema while staying within his skill set and not letting his audience down to some extent or other. The only actor in the commercial sphere who did just like Shah Rukh, or even better at times, would be Amir Khan. For instance, with Shah Rukh, beat the anti-hero with films like Bazigar, Dar, The Idiot, or an action-bound film with Karan Arjun, now Pathan, Koila, Josh, or the romantic comedies with Kabhi Ha Kabhi Na, Yes Boss, Boss, Fir Bhi Dil Hai Hindustani, Chalte Chalte, or pure comic with Baadshah, or films that are usually called as the middle of the road cinema with Devdas, Paheli, which I may add was an official entry for Oscars from India that year, Swadesh, My Name is Khan, Chak De, or with technically experimental films like Ravan, Ban, Zero, to name a few. In numerous interviews, Shah Rukh has expressed his desire to be a superstar. To achieve this, he has made a conscious effort to select a diverse range of films, allowing him to connect with a wide range of audience across India. He has portrayed characters of different religions, such as the Hindu protagonist in Devdas and the Muslim coach in Chak De. He has also played a small town character adjusting in the city life in Chahat and a city dwelling executive striving for success in Yes Boss. His roles have included a non-resident Indian working on a NASA project in the US in Swadesh and an Indian pilot falling in love with a Pakistani woman in Veer Zara. And even the production company that he started with Juhi Chawla and Aziz Mirza called Dreams Unlimited, which was later rebranded and called Red Chilies, has produced some really good films from Kamyab, Darlings, Badla, Dear Zindagi, and so on and on. So what I'm trying to say here is that Shah Rukh didn't only stay within the boundaries of commercial cinema and experiment and try and convey a story while making it interesting for all sets of audiences, but also did a fine job of funding films that he couldn't act in because of his limitations as a performer and superstar. As conflicted, controversial, commercial, conventional as he may be at times, he is someone that cannot be ignored when talking about Indian cinema or cinema in general. Like sometimes his films don't really create a change or make an impact on the society per se. Hopefully the motive behind them is to bring joy and entertain people. And at the end, he truly is a commercial poet and a feeling that cannot be resisted. And this video is also to help people realize that things are not what they look like, to go a little within and search a little deeper than just jumping to conclusions. Because something as simple as a celebrity, which also by the way is fabricated by us on purpose to satisfy our exaggerated expectations of human greatness. In simple words, this means that sometimes we create stories or ideas about people to make them seem better than they actually are. We do this because we want to believe that humans are capable of great things, even if they may not always live up to those expectations in reality. And celebrities are just a fragment of our own desires. Beyond that lives a person that we might not know, or whatever intellectual bullshit you can think of at this point. See you next time. Bye.